All right, guys. Somebody asked me a question. Well, put a question mark relating to is it easy to find love in the Philippines? The answer to that is remember, finding love is one way. Actually, obtaining it and having it from both sides is something that takes time. You find a lot of guys will meet a lot of women quite easily in the Philippines, in the sense of if they're looking for a relationship, it's much easier to approach people, and often you'll be approached by people. Um, but in the West, I mean, I was having a conversation with somebody about this recently, um, where the interest from the woman has changed. You know, a lot of Western women have changed the way they think about it. I've got to admit, the majority of women I know that I engage with here are 55 plus, because they're not so driven the way a lot of women are today in, I don't know, trying to be a guy, want a guy with the feelings but want a real man. Or, you know, it's all a mishmash um, of things that simply don't make sense, because you can't combine them all. You know, you can have this or that, you can't have both. Um, and it gets to that point where a lot of guys, quite simply, it's too much hassle to be in a relationship. There's too much risk to be in a relationship. But in the Philippines, there is a lot of traditional stuff still going on. You've got traditional family units. You've got traditional marriage is a big thing. Church is still a big thing, which is obviously tied with the marriage relationships. So there's a lot of stuff that bonds relationships together, where in the West, it's gone. You know, it's, a lot of people, quite simply, they have a falling out, they want a divorce. In the Philippines, a lot of people are still together through thick and thin, because of the way it's being sold to them in a traditional way. Now, don't get me wrong, there's benefits and there's negative sides to that, but the most important thing is that you can find somebody in the Philippines for a relationship. Now, whether that relationship is genuine or not will take time. And this is where I think a lot of guys go wrong. They commit too early. They don't really understand the person. This is why when I get people message me saying, "Oh, she had two children, I didn't know," and all this, it's like, well, how long were you married? How long did it take you to get into that level of commitment with somebody that you obviously didn't know? Because a lot of this stuff, if you're with somebody for a period of time, instead of just jumping it straight in, you will find that you'll come up with the facts, the truth, and everything else because other people tell you. It's one of the benefits where people talk about crab mentality. Crab mentality, somebody will love to tell you about the partner you're with and things that they got up to, because that's crab mentality. And that's one of the things people complain about is in the Philippines, a lot of people have crab mentality. I'd have to say there's a lot of people generally around the world that have crab mentality, but there's always somebody wanting to gossip. Um, but meeting somebody is much easier. You're not having somebody, oh, I'm offended, the guy trying to ask me out today, go and tell all their workmates. What? If anything, they'll ask, if you ask somebody out, they may tell their workmates, but it's more a case of they're going out with you tonight, rather than trying to make a scene out of it. And that's basically it. And it's the same with a lot of Latin American countries, because they're still very traditional in the way they're set up. Engagement with people is much higher, easier to have these sort of conversations with, want to go out with somebody, want to meet somebody, or engaging on a serious relationship basis. Because in Western society, it's getting harder to do, but often a lot of women put themselves with a high price tag that quite simply a lot of guys ain't interested in. High maintenance is not attractive. It's a pain in the backside. But anyway, hope that answers your question. I mean, the reality is a lot of women out in the Philippines are looking for guys. A lot of women out in the Philippines, it's not all about money. A lot of it's about things like security, which isn't always financial, in the sense that a lot of the women I know have had problems with the local guys, in the sense of they've had bad relationships, don't want commitment to marriage, The guy womanizes, guy drinks too much, maybe becoming a drug addict, etc. So the reality is, they look to a foreigner and often put them on a pedestal, because they can offer security, and even if they're older, a lot of the time they overlook it, because there's a thing called Second Life in the Philippines, um, even for some where there's a 20-year gap, because they'll see that the guy will pass on and they'll have a second life with somebody else later. The point is, they're more down to earth, they're more realistic, they know what they're getting themselves into once they're over 25. The younger women, like I said, I always say I wouldn't touch them with a barge pole. They're immature, you're looking at trouble, and often they have no idea what they actually want in life yet. Who does at that age? But anyway, thanks for watching.